What a beautiful day here in Orange County. Wow, had just a little mini stroke there. Orange County, California, and on my way to the airport. I'm on my way to Philadelphia, where I'm going to be speaking on stage. And let me go ahead and turn this around here. There we go. All right, so I just wanted to kind of give you an update of what's been going on. I have been sicker than a dog the last, and no pun intended, for those of you who know that I'm a dog trainer, sicker than a dog the last couple days, and knowing that I have 2 speaking engagements coming up. One, like I said, coming up tomorrow in Philadelphia, 2 days of speaking, and then again at the beginning of November, I had to get over this illness and try to minimize my talking because I was losing my voice and had this chest cold and just did not want to lose these opportunities. So because speaking is one of the ways that I probably have, it's my next step in my funnel of things, not necessarily a profit funnel, but I guess it could be, but my funnel of things that I do that allow me to make money. And so the speaking on stage is something I don't want to miss out on. The last time I spoke, which was in Long Beach, I probably got about 10 to maybe 12 new clients, which they both started about $3,000. So you can tell that is, and that's just from one event where I spoke. And so these speaking engagements are very important. So again, that's kind of why I have not even done a lot of recordings. I've done some dog training recordings because I don't have to talk when I'm doing those recordings. So sorry. I may be doing that a couple times on this particular show. This sun will go away in just a second. I got to get onto the southbound 55 here in just a minute. What I want to let you know is what I want to do when I get to Philadelphia is kind of show you what it is that I use when I speak to get clients, to get people on my list, and how I use my book when I'm speaking. So my book is probably one of the most important things I have that got me to the point where I'm speaking on stage and get people interested in what it is I'm doing. And then I also use the book there to increase engagement and also get people to opt into a place where I can get in contact with them and to give them more good information. That way they'll end up hiring me as a consultant. So my plan is, as long as, again, I can do this without messing up my voice. I've got some pretty strong medication that I got when I went to the doctor's the other day. And so I've been taking that medication right on schedule to make sure that I have everything. But the problem is I'm going to be flying. And as everybody knows who flies, that can make you kind of sick on its own. So hopefully everything will go well. So that's my plan when I get to Philadelphia, is just kind of show you what I have planned, what I'm going to do when I get there, some of the things that I do, and what I would love if there's something that I'm missing that maybe 1 or 2 or 3 or all of you that are watching may have something that you do that will be beneficial to me. Maybe there's something I'm missing. Maybe there's something I'm not doing. I've had pretty good success in doing what I'm doing, so I think what I'm doing right now is doing well, but I'm not against learning something new and adding to my arsenal, because I don't think you can ever know enough. I think that you're always learning. You never want to stop learning. You want to never stop growing in what it is you're doing. Now, the one thing I also want to say, I've had this discussion just recently also, is that you want to make sure is that you don't purchase and opt into every shiny object, right? And that's because that can bog you down. I just had a discussion with my assistant where she was sharing how much we are paying in some of these monthly things that I no longer use. So in my mastermind group, I mentioned the other day that I'm trimming off some of those things and have started to do so. And so maybe that's something you need to do. Maybe you need to look at what it is that you have and what you've purchased in the past that you may not need, that you're paying $300 a month. I have about 3 of those things that I pay about almost $300 a month. It's like $297 and $299 and that kind of thing. And so I'm going to get rid of at least 3 of those things. I got a couple $97 things that I have. Of course, you don't want to get rid of anything that's like $9.99 or $14.99. You want to keep those. The only reason I say that is because I have 2 of those ongoing training things going on, and that's one of the reasons I want to come on live now, because I've been a little bit absent because I've been sicker than a dog, and so I wanted to make sure that everybody knew that I didn't fall off the face of the earth. I just could not do a Facebook Live and take a chance of making this a little bit more long term. So that's it. Going to Philadelphia. I'm going to be flying. I got 2 layovers. Oh my gosh. Oh no, I got 1 layover. Sorry, 1 layover in Phoenix, and then I'll be in Philadelphia. The only problem is these people were so cheap that my instructions. So this is one thing that you need to have. So I have a sheet that anybody that wants me to come and speak or do anything, I require them to pay for my travel expenses. And so I have a sheet that spells out all the requirements. One of them is that I have an aisle seat because I can't stand being on the window. It has my frequent flyer mileage numbers on it. Make sure you have all those. I have, of course, American Airlines, Delta, Alaska, and what else? I think there's another one I have on there. I have my TSA number on there, so they make sure that they include that when they're making flight reservations. All these things are in bold red letters. These are mandatory must-haves. I have my Hertz rental car number on there, my gold, whatever that is, gold membership number is on there. And what else is on there? That the meals need to be paid for. Gosh, I'm trying to think of all the stuff that's on there. There's some pretty important stuff. I probably should include that on one of the files on the side here on this Facebook page. You know, somebody remind me to do that in the comment section, to include what it is I have on my travel. It's my travel requirements that is, you know, that they need to follow in order to for me to travel. The hotel needs to be, you know, not you know, a Motel 6 or a Red Roof Inn. It needs to be something on the lines of a Holiday Inn Express and up, I guess is the best way to put that. I'm pretty sure that's on there, something like that. I forget the wording. My assistant did a lot of it and changed some things around. So, but what I was going to complain about is that there were some aisle seats available, but they're more expensive. And so I should have said there should be something on there that, regardless if they are an upgrade or not, that's something in those words. So I learned something all the time, and that's one thing, is that document is a live document. It's one that changes all the time based on the changing the changes that take place in travel, right? Wow, that sun is really bright, and I look like a ghost. Wow, how about that? Is that better? So make sure that you know, you keep it up to date. If there's something that's changing right now, there's this new program called Clear. I'm working on getting a number for that. There's nothing where I fly out of Orange County every chance I get, and that normally requires that I have a layover, but I'd rather fly out of Orange County and have a layover than fly out of LAX and not have a layover. It is that bad going to LAX. It is horrible. It is one of the worst airports on the planet, and I just despise flying out of LAX. Even in pre, it's almost, the wait in pre-check is almost longer than your normal check-in. The only advantage is that you don't have to take off your belt and your shoes, or take your computer out of your backpack. So, so make sure you have all your numbers in your travel requirements. Again, all your numbers that you have for your different, you know, frequent flyers, and your Hertz numbers or whatever rental car you prefer, and your pre-check, Clear. That's about it. So And then make sure you have a fee schedule. A fee schedule is super important because you want to make sure that it's very clear what it is that you are charging for your time. So these are some things I've not ever spoken about. I don't even know why. But a fee schedule has everything listed on there. And for some of my consulting, there's a little bit of a price difference. So on my attorney consulting, where I testify on the stand, it's $250 an hour for everything other than when I'm testifying on the stand. In that case, it's $400 an hour. And so that you see there's a difference there, and what the retainer is, all that's completely spelled out. And then I have a day rate, which instead of charging by the hour on a day, so let's say I fly and it takes me, maybe 4 hours to fly somewhere. The problem with that is because there's more time that's involved in travel other than the flight, right? You have to drive to the airport, you have to find a parking place, you have to, wait for your Uber. There's other things that are taking up your time that will make it a little bit more than that. So you want to make sure that, and I believe that I've done better by having a day rate. So like a $2,000 day rate or a $3,000 day rate is pretty normal, and so that's what mine is. And so it just makes it easier because if you don't, some organizations want you to itemize every minute that you're doing something and make sure that it falls into place. So you want to make sure that you have a very clear fee schedule, so when you're billing, it doesn't fall into this other stuff. Now, there has been some issues where I could have contact back and forth with somebody, and there's something, I know that I've had something like 78 emails go back and forth where people are sending forms, wanting me to sign them, send them back, and then there's some editing that needs to take place and all this kind of stuff, and got into that email game, and I think there's something, somebody told me one time that it's something where around 10 cents an email exchange or something like that. So you may want to look in that and see what the norm is. My emails vary because some emails require a lot of work. So you can take an email and throw it into a work product and just charge by the time, about the time that it takes you to do that. So if I get an email asking for a report, of course, I'm not going to charge for that email. I'm going to charge for the time it takes me to write the report. So just make sure all these things are taken into consideration based on what it is you do as far as a consultant or when you travel for speaking, that kind of stuff, that you look at what it is you're doing for your time and what it is you need to be compensated for. And when you travel, again, I think an important thing there is to have just simply a day rate, because it's so hard to justify all the hours, because when it comes to hourly stuff, people are going to, what are they? The bean counters is what they call them. The bean counters are gonna say, so what is it that you did for this hour and that 15 minutes and that 10 minutes, and it gets really convoluted and difficult. So I would simply just stick to having a day rate. When I leave town, this is what it's going to cost for each day that I'm gone away from my office and away from home. Now in California, I don't have a day rate. That is based on hourly. How long it took me to drive, like Long Beach. How long it took me to drive to Long Beach, my time that I was in Long Beach speaking, and then my time driving back home, which is about 45 minutes. And that's how I bill that. So anywhere within the greater Los Angeles, Orange County, and even San Diego area, that is an hourly rate based on what it is I'm doing, because of course that's driving, that's not going to an airport and going through security and flying somewhere and getting a hotel and all that stuff that goes along with it. One last thing is that I've learned that although Uber is great, I would prefer to have them provide me with a rental car, and so that would be something that possibly you want to consider, having them make sure that you have a rental car. In some of the cases that I have in regard to my attorney stuff that I do, and I'm sorry I'm bouncing back and forth, but I do consulting and I do these attorney things, is that, and this is kind of a funny story, one time, if you don't know, I'm a police officer, or a retired police officer, and one day I flew somewhere and the suspect in the case picked me up. Now this is a guy that's been arrested for trafficking methamphetamine. Now, do I want a guy as a police officer who was arrested and on trial for trafficking methamphetamine, picking me up at the airport? Absolutely not. So it's very clear that no client can pick me up in regard to, you know, something I'm doing in regard to attorneys. All right. So you want to make, these are the things you need to make clear, because if you don't, these are the things that can happen. And that's why it's important. You know, some of you may think, well, how often do I do this? Once a year? You need to have it. If you are speaking once a year or twice a year, have something put together that you can send them that are requirements for you, right? Or else they're going to put you in a Red Roof hotel. Sorry, Red Roof. And they are going to put you against the window if you like an aisle because it's cheaper. And they're going to put you on a crappy airplane. And they're going to have Joe Schmo in his crappy car pick you up with, you know, pot smoke on the inside of it. Nothing against pot smokers, especially medical marijuana people. All right, so you just want to make these things clear. I like to have a rental car. I just flew up to Washington on a consulting thing, and had the rental car, and it was nice because where I went was Yakima, Washington. There were some wineries around there and some other stuff that allowed me on my off time to be able to kind of you know, look around and experience some of the surroundings. Never had been in Yakima before, and so it's a lot easier and better and just more fun, you know, to do that than it would be to try to Uber around all over the place and keep track of the Uber receipts and send them to the person who was hiring me. All right, so make sure all that stuff is spelled out in your travel requirements. Make sure you have a fee schedule that'll count for all your time and how you're going to bill your time, and you know, we're going to talk about, you know, taking books with you and that kind of stuff, or having books shipped to the hotel you're going to be speaking at, that kind of stuff. We're going to talk about that kind of stuff later. But just get your rate sheet together, get your travel requirements together, have that on a sheet on your computer in a PDF that's easy to email to them, and that way there's no confusion and you don't have arguments about your billing and about what your travel requirements are. All right. So again, as long as my voice will hold out, you can probably tell that it's already starting to go. I will try to, from my hotel, again, Wi-Fi in the hotel is pretty crappy, but as long as it's working fairly well, I'll come back on and I'll kind of show you some of the things that I'm going to be doing as far as marketing, building my list during this talk in Philadelphia, and that's about it. All right, hope everybody's doing well. Stay safe, and just take care of yourself and be healthy. All right, I'll talk to you later. Take care. Bye.